Hello everyone, this is Reignite and I'm Cathy Grant. Welcome to you all. If you're watching live, jump in on the live chat. And if you're watching in catch up, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I'm super excited about our guest today. He worked with my favourite band on the album Strawberries, and that brought the song Ignite, which is what inspired the title of this show. So you know what I'm going to say. Let's light the fuse and reignite with Mr. Paul Gray. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Hello, my love. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Do you know what I just realised? Strawberries. It's 40 years old this year.
You're not wrong.
That is scary. I do. There's a question for you straight off the bat. Do you actually like strawberries?
What, the record?
Well, the record, obviously, but
I like strawberries, but I prefer raspberries.
Oh, all right, okay. Do you grow them in your garden?
I do, yeah. My neighbour gave me some, and I bunged some in an old dustbin, which is good for going raspberries. Top tip there.
Really?
And I put some in the field behind me. So I live back onto the field, behind a hedge, and they grow by suckers, right?
Right.
And they spread like wildfire. So there's kind of like where there should be corn or wheat or something grown, there's always raspberries spreading into his field. I'm going to get
Love it.
one day probably, but yeah, no, I like both, but raspberries probably just pips it for me.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we'll get back to. I'm going to get a dustbin now and start growing some raspberries. We'll get back to food later because there will be biscuit questions and tea questions coming up. Oh, look at that, right on cue. You're just a professional. And obviously, we're going to get on to damn news because you've got a lot to share with us, I hope. But going back to the beginning, how did you actually start in music?
Oh, blimey.
I mean, was it at school? Were you in a choir? Did you learn instruments at school?
God, no, I can't sing for toffee, which is odd because my mum was an opera singer, so she had this wonderful kind of deep contralto voice. But my dad was rubbish, and I inherited his tunes as far as the old vocal cords go. I just, I learned the piano as you do as a kid. You're forced to do it. I mean, mum was a concert pianist as well back in the day, so I kind of got encouraged to do that until I, as you do, you turn on the transistor radio one day, as you did back then, and you hear something on the radio and you think, sounds a bit more exciting than playing Mozart, or something like that. And there was a song called The Joy of Living by Cliff Richard and the Shadows. Don't know what it was, 68, 69. And I think my memory's not great back then. And the first sort of record that got me going, it keeps changing because I keep thinking, oh no, maybe it was that one, maybe it's that one. But there's something called The Joy of Living. And there was this fantastic kind of really deep flangey solo on it that in my naivety I thought was a bass guitar, but it wasn't. It was it was Hank's red Stratocaster. Oh, somebody just popped up there.
Hello, but yeah, hello to everyone in the chat. Thanks for showing up, guys.
I badged my dad to get me a bass guitar because I thought a bass guitar it wasn't. So he bought me this, 10 quid it cost, Rossetti. But it was kind of unplayable because the strings were like really way high above the fingerboard. But it looked great posing in the mirror, when I was 12 or something. And I just taught myself, played with some mates at school. And played in a school concert. I did the school concert, and it was in the days of Hair, all the rock operas and all that. And our teacher, thought he was a bit groovy, So he wrote this rock opera, and it was all written out, you know, and I can't read music for bass. I can barely read it for piano. So I kind of learnt it by ear and went on stage with the rest of the band to do this rock opera thing in front of all the parents. And I didn't turn the page once. And I got such a bollocking afterwards. He said, Gray, you'll never be a musician if you just learn stuff and don't read the dots on the page.
Oh dear.
But I got it's a familiar story probably to lots of you know, self-taught musicians. But yeah, so that's kind of how it started from my memory today.
Okay, because I did read somewhere that you started. Was it you were miming to one of my favourites, Alice Cooper's "School's Out," and you were mimed to it before you learnt to play it?
Oh, I did all that, yeah, with your
Yeah.
friends in the bedroom. You know, you air guitar. You know, we invented air guitar way back before, you know, all these young pretenders today. Yeah, yeah. I was always a bass player, of course. You know.
Of course, of course. And what were you like at school then, Con? Because I work in a school, so I always ask people: were you a good boy at school? Were you studious? Did you turn in your homework on
Studious.
time?
You could use to describe me,
No.
but no, I was not academic. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I was good at drawing Hawkwind logos on my maths textbooks. That was about where it sort of started.
So you had early artistic abilities then, you see.
There you go. The space rich I could draw off by heart beautifully.
So all right. So school was. Did you go to college or?
I went to grammar school. I got asked to leave from that. Then I went to boarding school for a couple of years, and I got told it was probably best if I didn't come back to that. I was not studious. I was probably what's called a bit disruptive and got into trouble through various demeanours. And then I ended up at Southend Technical College for about 2 terms, not knowing what the hell I was going to do. I was 15. Didn't do any O levels, just did CSEs as it was back then at the school I was at. And then just as the end of the summer term broke up, I think I did a couple of O levels. That's when I joined the Hot Rods. So I never went back. You know, it was like a month before my 16th birthday. So school was just kind of a bit of a lark for me. You know, I got nothing really out of it apart from, you know, make some good friends.
Right, right. So you said the Hot Rods there. So I was going through the different bands you've been in, and you kind of jumped backwards and forwards between bands, haven't you? Because I know you started in the Hot Rods, then you went to the Damned, then at some point you went back to the Hot Rods, then you were in UFO, then you were back in the Damned. So there's a lot of variety and moving around going on.
Something like that. I get confused myself.
Because I was trying to look at the timeline and work out where you were when. I'm like, are you just in all these bands at the same?
It was Hot Rods for 5 years, then it was a Damned for 3, then it was UFO for 5, then it was back the Damned and the Hot Rods and working with Captain in the 90s, I think. Yeah. And then I had to duck out because of tinnitus. You know, I got really bad hearing damage. Then I did an album with Alan Lee Shaw, who was also in the Damned. I did a thing with Captain, the first Grey Cells. Did a bit of playing with my mates in a little kind of like kind of folky band, really. It was just good fun up in the village up the road for me. Did a bit more with Captain, then got lured back into the Damned again, in between various other things, you know, loads of session work and all of that. So yeah, I've been pretty lucky to sort of duck and dive between it all.
Yeah, but UFO, to me, listening to all the different things, the sound for UFO compared to the other bands you're in just seems very different. Do you like the variety of all the different bands?
Do you know what? It actually wasn't really. You know, it's all rock and roll to me. You know, I love music. You know, if I like a song, I don't give a toss what box it's put in by anybody. You know, it was a good song. It's a good song, and I love rock music. You know, I grew up with rock music way before any punk stuff. I grew up with Free, you know, and Deep Purple and Stray and Mountain and Black Sabbath. You know, that's what informed, and The Who. That's what informed my bass playing and songwriting and all that, really. So going to UFO was, you know, it's the same 3 or 4 chords, just with a different top line over it and a bit slower.
Yeah.
Really, you know.
Yeah, it is a shame when people stick different kinds of genres of music in a box and someone says, oh, I like rock, or oh, I like punk, and I don't like this because it's not that. And it's a shame when people categorize like that, and you just think, oh, because it's country, I'm not going to listen.
Yeah, it makes journalist jobs easier. And, you know, there's so much different music about now. You know, I guess you've got to kind of describe it in some way and put it into a box is probably the easiest, but it can preclude other people hearing it. You know, you can
exactly.
a little bit anal about, oh, it's heavy metal, or it's punk, or it's, you know, it's rap. I'd probably draw a line at rap, but you know, I try and be open to everything. And UFO was immense fun. You know, I wouldn't have missed that for the world. A lovely bunch of people as well.
Yeah. Okay. As I was going to ask you, what was the first gig that you ever actually physically went to? I know my first one was Duran Duran. That was it.
It was Atomic Rooster.
Atomic Rooster. I just heard my producer go, so he clearly knows who that is, but I don't.
Oh, Cathy, educate yourself. Come on.
Please, tell me more.
Prog rock band, 3-piece prog rock band, fantastic Hammond player, bloke called Vince Crane. And they had a series of great singers. Funny enough, they never had a bass player live, and I went to see him at the Chris Pavilion in Southend, in Westcliff in Southend, and I was about 13, I think, and they just had a single called Devil's Answer. It was great, you know. It was all the peace signs, flashing man, and the patchouli, and that was the first show. Then I think the second was Alex Harvey, maybe Hawkwind, Stray, Dr. Feelgood. You know.
Nice. Do you know, you just said patchouli then. I had an urge the other week to find patchouli oil, and I've just found it. You know, one sniff of patchouli oil, it took me right back, back in time. Yeah, it really should.
Yeah.
Problem is, I sort of put one dot of it on the corner of my jacket, and now every time I walk through the house, I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's so strong.
Well, you used to put it on to cover up the smell of, you know, having a fag on a bus.
Yeah.
That wasn't it?
Totally. So we mentioned something. You briefly mentioned it there, and it's something I said to you before we came on air that I wanted to touch on, which was your tinnitus, and also the other one. Now I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's hyperacusis, the sensitivity to sound.
Yeah.
So, as a musician, how the heck do you deal with it? I mean, have you got?
You can't ignore it. I mean, there's no other way to. There's 2 ways of dealing with it. In my experience, having had it since 95. Oh, you've gone off the screen. Never mind. Did I touch something properly? I'm rubbish at this stuff. Oh,
no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just letting you have full screen.
Oh, you have to deal with it. You know, there's no cure for it, and you can basically get into a black hole, which I did for about 5 years, you know, and get really depressed with it. Or you can try and get out of it, and getting out of it is not easy, but it's the only way to deal with it. So by kind of accepting you've got it, and trying to ignore it gets me through, but it's difficult. Stage is actually okay because we all wear in-ear monitors now. You know, and I keep the volume really low in them, and it stops all the cymbals and the snare and the drums and all the noisy stuff. But it's all the peripheral noise of, you know, doors slamming and people shouting and clapping and all that kind of really I'm overly sensitive to. That's the hyperacusis side of it. So it's not easy, but what you do, you know, you lock yourself away and you never go out again, or you kind of think, well, life's for living, let's get on with it, which is what I ended up doing eventually.
Yeah, because when you were away from the Damned, it's not like you weren't busy, is it? Because I've seen you were doing studio projects. You were the lead tutor?
I did. I started working for a community music organisation called Community Music Wales, doing music projects with underprivileged kids in sort of, you know, pretty rough areas. And that was great, you know, because they'd be out there doing those speed deals and everything, and, you know, scallywags basically. But, you know, by kind of like bringing some guitars and a drum kit and a keyboard, you kind of engage them in, you know, you show them an Oasis song or something, you know, the simplest 3 chords you could, and they get it, you know, and you kind of change people's lives through that. But that was noisy as well.
Yes.
So, I ended up going to work for the Musicians Union, which was really interesting, hard work. You know, if you think dealing with 3 or 4 people in a band is difficult, try dealing with a 50-piece orchestra and their management. I did that for 14 odd years. You know, I kind of looked after Wales and southwest England, and it was quiet. You know, I had to get away from noise until I stopped doing that. I chucked that in 4 years ago to come back to Damned. God help me.
Thank God for that. Thank God, for which we're eternally grateful. So coming back to the Damned, but aside from the Damned, because I'm desperate to get on, I'm itching to get onto Damned news, but I'm just trying to cover a few things before we get there. So Sensible Grey Cells, because it's not just the Damned. We've got Sensible Grey Cells, and we've also got Professor and the Madman. So can we start with Sensible Grey Cells? So that's with Captain, obviously. So
Captain
what's happening with that?
Yeah. What's happening with it? Well, not a lot at the moment. We did the first record with a drummer that I knew who played in a little folky band that I played with, Ant Thicket. He came down here. I mean, Captain came down here, and we just wrote some songs together. You know, it was 2010, 2011. And it's the first time we'd kind of hooked up since the 90s, the reunion, Damned reunion tours, I think. And it was great. It was literally a garage project. We recorded all the drums in one day in a garage up in the friend's garage up in the village on a computer. And me and Captain did all the tracking and vocals on a MacBook and ping stuff to and fro. So it was a real garage project, you know. And it was great. It was really good fun, and it was really nice to work with Captain again, obviously. And then we did we had a bunch more songs. So then we just done I just come back the Damned. We'd done a tour with Johnny Moped supporting. Marty Parrott was the drummer. He's a fabulous drummer. And a really nice bloke as well. So we asked him to play drums on the next record, which came out last year, 2 years ago. Can't remember now. And that was a lot of fun. We did that in a studio in Reigate. So there might be another one at some point. You know, I mean, given the way my life's gone, you know, you just never know what's going to happen.
I was going to say, none of us know what's coming next, do we?
Yeah.
Just crack on and hope for the best.
The Madmen thing came just through. I mean, I think a lot of people know this now, but they sent me a message on Facebook, and I try and avoid Messenger. I try and steer away from all that community, all the spam and everything. It drives me bonkers. Yeah. But I just happened to catch this message, and they said, "Oh, we got this, you know, Love Your Poundish record, you know, big Damn fans, blah blah blah," and they sent me a track. I can't think what it was called now, but I played it, and I instantly heard what I play on it. So I kind of bunged it onto my MacBook and just chucked a bass line down completely off the cuff and sent it back. I said, "How about something like this?" And that's the one that ended up on the very kind of bit Jekyll and Hyde starting off, you know.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, by the way, we got Rat playing drums," which they didn't tell me at first.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you didn't know? Oh my God.
I had no idea. The drums sound a bit familiar. So that was fun, you know. And I've done, I think, 3 albums with them now. And we did a show, sure enough, me and Rat a couple of years ago at the 100 Club. It was just a one-off that was really great fun. I'd love to do some more live stuff with them.
Yeah.
And obviously, the last couple of years, it's all, you know, everything's gone to pot. So
Yeah.
so that was that. And then there's another project I've been working on that's I was going to tell you about, but I still can't because it's not quite. There's been a few little hiccups along the way, but I mean, I can tell you that Marty's involved, the drummer, because he's just
Okay.
but it's for another couple of guys that your listeners, readers, viewers, whatever, will no doubt be very familiar with. And it's a lockdown project because all our bands were on ice.
Yeah.
Various introductions were made, various song ideas were swapped, and all of a sudden this album materialized. And it's all rather exciting because none of us knew what the end result might be, or even if there will be an end result. It was just, let's do something while there's nothing happening. So
Yeah.
we've got a label for that. That's all sorted out. It's just been remixed now. And I think that's going to be kind of out in the public domain news-wise around August. So that's fun.
Okay, yeah, as Vermilion303 just said in the chat, this sounds very intriguing.
It's intriguing. Yeah, that's what I can say. And I did loads more because you know, if I'm not working, you know, I'm a session player with the Damned as well. So I'm not recording, I'm not doing shows, I'm not earning any money. So I'd knock together a website and try to get some session work with anyone. You know, I'll play bass for anyone. If I like the song and I think I can add something to it, I can hear me on it, I'll play it. And I got quite a lot of stuff in. A guy called Matt Webster, Signia Alpha, done a whole bunch of stuff with him, which is really good. That's all out for release now. There's a guy in America. Oh God, what's his name? I wrote it down somewhere. I've done so many.
You're like me, scribbling notes on bits of paper everywhere.
They had Mike Garson, or David Bowers keyboard player, on keyboards. That was fun to do. I don't know if or when that's coming out. Various bits of a punk band in Croatia I did some stuff with, and quite a lot of individuals, you know, just who got some songs and fancied me having played bass on it. So I've kept myself busy.
Yeah. And you did you were doing like little YouTube clips as well, weren't you? Like sort of teaching people various bass lines.
Oh, I do that just for a laugh.
Was that before lockdown? You just do that?
Yeah, I've done that for years. Yeah, the first ones are just me sat there. I don't think I even plugged the bass in. I didn't think anybody would look at them. All of a sudden, I started having all these views. I thought, oh, I better do a bit more properly.
A bit more professional.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of stuff up there, you know.
So you never know what's going to take off on YouTube. Because we sit there some nights, you think, oh, it's bugger all on telly, and you start scrolling through YouTube and you go down rabbit holes. And the new one that we've just found is there's some Japanese couple who have got a pair of otters that live in their house, and it's what these otters do. Like, we're going to switch on the popcorn machine and see what the otters do. And they literally, we looked this morning at one of them, it's had 10 million views on YouTube. There's just no logic to these things.
Well, you one step ahead of me there. I should have thought of that one.
That's what we said. We should have got ourselves a couple of pet otters.
If I have my cat with me, Badger,
Oh,
the
Badger.
number goes exponentially up. All I've got to do is get the bloody cat in, and everyone's going, oh, look, there's Badger again.
They are. Yeah, they are gold. I tell you, once we put your promos up and everyone, the comments are all, I'll be tuning in. It's like, oh, who's the cat? What's the cat's name?
Yeah, he's more famous than I am. He's keeping in the next room now.
Oh, yeah, we've got two. We shut them downstairs. Is he a rescue or?
All my cats have been rescued, yeah.
Yeah, same here. How long have you had him?
Badger's 12 now. Yeah. Yeah, I had him. He had a sister. Well, he wasn't a sister, but I got another cat the same time, not long after moved where I am now, which is right out in the country. Unfortunately, she got run over because the sort of lane I live in links kind of Cathy towards Newboy, a bit of a shortcut, and then the school run. People come terrorising down a hill, and there's a bend, and they put the brakes on too late, so it's not great. So we lost her, but Badger's just keeps in the back. He's a male, so he's pretty lazy. He doesn't do much.
Do you know we say in the chat, it's all Badger fan club. It's all coming up in the chat now.
Is it? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. We'll go off air. I'll put my two cats here. You put Badger there. We'll go off and have a cup of tea, and everyone will be happy. But yeah, we've always had rescues as well. Yeah, we went out to Spain with one rescue cat and came back from Spain with two rescue cats, as you do. You can't resist, can you? Anyway, so look, let's go back to health, if you don't mind, because I know we were talking before about your tinnitus, but obviously, we're trundling along quite happily in life, and then you got the diagnosis of throat cancer, which also brought up another damned connection.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I went to the doctor. I had this tickle in my throat for like weeks, months. I went to the doctor and he said, oh, it's an allergy. Have some antibiotics. Another couple of months. Went back. It's an allergy. Have some more antibiotics. Went back. Allergy. Have some more. This went on for nearly a year until I knew something was wrong because I couldn't sleep. Every time I lay down, I was coughing. And so I asked to see a different doctor because, you can never see the same doctor now.
Nah.
And she was brilliant. She took one look and said, here's the name of a ENT consultant. I suggest you call him yesterday. So it was pretty urgent, so I had to go privately. And I saw him literally within a week, and he put the old camera up the nose and said, oh, that's interesting. Do you want to look? I said, no, thanks. He said, yes, it's some sort of cancer. I'm not sure what. I thought, well, talk about kind of let you down gently. But I knew it was cancer. I kind of convinced myself. So it wasn't, and that my partner was, I think, more freaked out than I was when we finally got the diagnosis. But, it was 2012, I think. So, they drew a treatment plan, and a couple of weeks later I was in, that was all done on the NHS then. They said, well, you've got three options. You can ignore it. We can operate, or you can have radiotherapy and chemo. But if we operate, the cancer is right on your vocal cords, which is why I'm croaky some days are better than others.
Yeah.
He said you might lose your voice and have to have a stoma.
Boxes. Yeah.
I thought, fuck that for a game of soldiers. I'm not one of them things. So I said, well, I ain't going to ignore it. I said, you know, zap me with whatever you're going to zap me with, which they end up over zapping me with. But, you know, it's left me with a legacy of sort of irritating problems, but it's better than the alternative.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and I saw Bryn when I went to see the consultant. He shouldn't have said it really, but he said, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a musician." Or, you know, anybody I know. I said, "Oh, you know, I work with blah blah blah," and his jaw dropped, and he said, "I'm just treating another person who said they were the bass player in the Damned." So no kind of like client confidentiality there, you know.
No.
I thought there's only one person that could be, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Barry's like 10 miles away from me. So we had this really bizarre experience that, I mean, Bryn had Bryn's cancer was a different place to me. It was more on the lump on the side of his neck. Mine was more in the throat. Well, it wasn't the throat. So he had different treatments, but we used to bump into each other with remarkable regularity in the cancer clinic in what's the hospital called? I can't remember now. The Heath first, and then Velindre Cancer Hospital in Cardiff. And he'd turn up in his tassel jacket, you know, looking every bit the kind of rock star. And we'd see him. We'd be driving in for the appointment, you know, and you go in like this horrible washing machine thing, and you get zapped for half an hour with radiotherapy. Then you got to go and have tubes and chemo, and it's all a bit of a chore, you know. And I used to see him. He'd be at the gates with a growler on, a bottle of whiskey, and you think, for fuck's sake, man, you got fucking throat cancer. He's going, Paul, I don't know what's worse, man, having cancer, having to give up smoking. Listen, I mean, there's only one Bryn, you know. And
well, yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, so we used to amuse ourselves by swapping stories of certain musicians we work with. No names mentioned.
Yeah.
That cheered us up immensely.
It's funny. I always say, because anyone who's not from the Damned crowd, I can see a lot of the Alice Cooper crowd in our chat. Anyone who's not from the Damned era, Bryn was a bassist after Paul, and Paul's come back, and Bryn was an absolute scream. We had, I don't know, you probably haven't seen it yet, but I had Roman on this show, and Roman told us a story about Bryn, that he apparently went to his hotel room one night, opened a drawer and said, "What's this?" And he found a lipstick, and he said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "I know what I'll do. I'll draw some glasses on." And he drew some glasses on his face, and Roman said to him, "No, don't do that, Bryn." He said, "No, there's something wrong." He said, "I know, I need a moustache." So he did a moustache, he did a beard, then he apparently disappeared in the bathroom. I said to him, "Been in there a long time, are you all right? Are you all right?" He come out and it was still on his face. It was semi-permanent lipstick. It was about 4 days before it came off.
Yeah, that sounds like Bryn.
That is just Bryn. Oh, talking of him, his lovely daughter Ella, who's now in New Zealand, she said to say hello to you. She's going to be tuning in later on because she's asleep right now, but she asked to be remembered to you.
Yeah, she's down there. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. They've got their winter down there now, haven't they? Poor sods. Anyway, look, we've talked Damned, we've skirted around the Damned, but the main reason, obviously, that you're here is to tell us Damned news, because there's been so much going on lately. So from what I know, obviously you've got the tour coming up with Blondie in the US soon. There's a new drummer, there's new material. So I'm going to zip it, disappear, and ask you to tell us everything you can about the Damned, please.
Well, the record's all done and dusted, as I think most people know. It should have been out last month, I think in May. But for various reasons, mostly because of all the reunion stuff, it's been pushed back. Because the reunion's been cancelled and pushed back a few times, that keeps pushing our new stuff back, which is, you know, immensely frustrating, to be polite about it, but that's the way it is. So it's, I suppose you want to know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's raw. It's a world away from, the evil spirits, which was different. I think every Damned record is different. And I think that's one of the lovely things about the Damned, is that the Damned has never been stuck in a rut. There's no kind of what's the word? Set plan.
Yeah.
No plans whatever with the Damned. It's very organic, and it'll be what it'll be. And this has turned out, with the addition of Will, who came in completely blind, the new drummer. It's very lively. It's very exciting. It's kind of stripped down, and I suppose it's like a raw as strawberries, if you like, but it's got all the elements, all the kind of the classic elements that I think people know and like the band for. I think it's rather splendid. I mean, I'm immensely proud of it, and the music is pretty diverse as well. You can't say it's kind of one particular style, but it's definitely got that psych edge that we all kind of like, and it seems to seep in pretty much to everything that we do. So the latest I think is that it's planned for February next year now, which is kind of nearly a year late, which is also planned for the start of a lengthy touring cycle, because we've got a long time to make up. We've got 3 years to make up now. The stuff we're doing this year is really just, dipping our toes in the water again. Wish there was more of it, but again, because of reunion stuff and other bits and pieces, then it's got to be fitted in around that. So as far as my understanding goes, we're kicking off again next February in the UK, and then there's going to be a world tour built on the back of that, a new album, a couple of singles off that, and it's all, hopefully it's going to be a very fruitful year. It can't be worse than the last couple, as far as the Damned goes, put it that way. So yeah, the guy that produced it, never heard of him, bloke called Thomas Mitchener. He's a pretty young guy, got his own studio, got a fantastic vocal sound. I think Dave's vocals are probably sounding the best I've ever heard.
He sounded amazing.
Guitar sounds great, drums sound great. It's all there, everyone I've played it to is has been more than pleasantly surprised. Let's put it that way. I can't build up anymore.
Yeah, you got the comments going. Everyone's like, can't wait to hear it. Want to hear it? Can't wait.
Yeah, it's lively.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this now, because I've been seeing some of the live shows that people have been putting clips out on YouTube. Dave's voice is sounding incredible. Oh, there we go. There's a lovely comment. Look at that one. Saw the Damned 3 weeks ago at Sunderland, first time in about 35 years. Wasn't sure what to expect after all these years. No need. They were fantastic. Thanks for a great night, Paul.
Yeah, it's funny, a lot of singers, their voice, the advancing years tend not to do it a lot of favors. But somehow, with Mr. Vanian, it seems to be the opposite.
Yeah, it really does.
And it's not just the performance, but it's the vocal sound that's been achieved on this new record that's really present and very much in your face, and it's really, all the nuances are kind of there and audible. It's not buried in a sea of trickery. It's everything is kind of up front. So
I am dying to hear this.
Well,
I'm going to wait till
thing. I mean,
February.
we started nearly 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
Oh,
You know, it's been a long
Jesus.
time.
That must be so frustrating for you as well. Do you ever see a return to? So I'm just thinking back through Damned Years, some of the videos that came out. Do you ever see a return to time where people will release singles from albums and make videos to go with them?
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing that. But
Are you?
there's apparently a video budget to do that, but I know no more about it than that.
I know nothing.
You know, it's with the Damned, you know, the Damned
Yeah,
don't
I
follow
know.
the trajectory of the normal trajectory that most bands do. It's its own beast, and it will go whichever direction that it goes in. So, but there is, I mean, actually, for the first, maybe the first time in quite a long time, there are definite kind of plans, but they keep getting shifted for various reasons, and of course, COVID didn't help.
Yeah.
So it's all there waiting to go. Same with the Palladium album, and I've seen the video of that, and
Yeah.
it's astounding is not too much of a word, stronger word to say. I mean, I was actually blown away. I thought, fucking hell, is that me? You know, is that us? Is that what it looked like? Because I had no idea. And I actually
No.
didn't know personally that it was being filmed at all, the way it was. We
Didn't
knew there was a
you?
few little GoPro cameras about. I didn't know it was being recorded the way it was. It was all Dave said to me, because we had no production rehearsals whatsoever. You know, this huge stage set was all Dave's kind of vision. And it was an immense undertaking. And we only saw the stage plan about 2 days before rehearsal. We had a string section. We had no time to rehearse with them, not even a sound check. So it was skin of your teeth. It could have been an absolute disaster, really, but it went completely the other way. And as we were standing in the wings waiting to go on, all I knew was that Circus of Horrors were involved. And I said something to Dave like, anything I need to know, any parts, he just waves, just keep out of the way. Well, of course, when you get all these, trampoline people and fire eaters going off above you, you think actually maybe I should keep away all these parts. So, it was immensely exciting because none of us knew what was going to happen apart from Dave, and not even he knew because we'd never had time to rehearse it. But it looks astounding. It looks absolutely astounding, and sounds it too. Yeah.
Do you know when we're gonna get to see it? Hello, everybody. I've just seen somebody called Zoe Smith's watching us from down under. Good morning, I would imagine.
This year, I hope.
Yeah. That's on my Christmas present list, actually, if you're listening in the other room. You're the curse of the damned.
That's all I can tell you.
All right, fair enough. So we're sticking with the damn theme at the moment because I'm sure you know Barry Hutchinson, who, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, runs a really good Facebook group. I think it's called Damned Rare Videos. But if you look in the show description, you'll find that Facebook page. You'll also find all Paul's information and also the Damned website, because you'll have seen that we've scrolled some dates on screen. But as Paul said yesterday, and he's just told me again, that dates are being added. So although we've put the dates up at the moment, there are other dates being added.
There's 3 added, I think. There's New Jersey, Atlanta, and Cincinnati, but they've had to be fitted in between the Blondie dates, and it's difficult at the moment because a lot of the tour bus companies went out of business, because of the pandemic, and crews aren't got other jobs, so we're kind of all squashed into a van on this run. It's going to be a cozy one, it's going to be, different. So we've cause obviously, you know, we're losing shows last month because, you know, a bunch of us came down with the dreaded, has left us in a bit of a lurch, you know. So tried to put a few more shows in. I think that's only 3 just because of logistics of trying to get venues at short notice and within driving distance of where we're going with Blondie, you know. So it's not mega arduous. So, but you know, again, next year is, as I understand it, when all the big touring cycle's going to happen again, you know, in support of the new album.
Yeah. Crikey, Paul, you're popular. Look at that. Part 2's just been called for. Apparently one part of this interview isn't enough. Thank you, Anders. We'll see. Maybe when the album comes out next year, we'll have them back. But I've got to ask something. I just saw a comment, and I'm wondering if that's something to do with you, Paul. Somebody just said, "Yes, I can see the gnome now," but I'm not sure if that's some private conversation or if there's a gnome behind you somewhere.
There's a what behind me?
A gnome. Somebody just said, "Yes, I can see the gnome now," and I don't know what they're talking about. You haven't got a gnome behind you, have you?
I've got no gnomes inside or outside the house. I can categorically clarify that.
Oh, I can see what it is. Look, it's somebody's profile picture.
Oh, right. Oh, that thing there.
Anyway, we were talking about Barry. Went completely off the script there. Talking about Barry. So Barry Hutchinson asked a question for you. He said, "I think I'm wonderful." The song. Yeah. Did you play on it? And is there any reason why it's never been played live?
No, Captain played bass on that. That was a demo that was done, I think, before I joined them. You know, that was probably pre-Black Album. Yeah, that was one of Captain. There was a studio called RMS in Croydon, great little 8-track place that we used to pile into to do demos, and Captain practically lived there back in the day. And he'd go in with whoever he was about, whether rap was about or I was about, or just do it himself. And I think I'm wonderful. I think is from one of the demos that was probably a Black Album demo, but we just ended up using everything the Captain played on it.
And is there a reason why it's never been played live?
No, great song. I'd be well happy to do it live.
Yeah, it'd be a good one to do live. And I've got another question, but this one's an anonymous question. And it says, do you have any thoughts or opinions? And have you read any of the following biographies? Carol Clark, Light at the End of the Tunnel, Kieran Tyler's Smashing It Up, or Barry Hutchinson's Chaos Years? So have you read them, and do you have any thoughts or opinions on
them? I've got Carol's book, yeah. I can see my bookcase down there, The Light at the End of the Tunnel. I mean, Carol was lovely. You know, she was a very honest journalist. You know, sadly, she's long gone. She liked to drink, along with the rest of us. We got on really well with her. And she, I think, understood, you know, the dynamics of the band better than, you know, anybody. So, you know, that I think that's the nearest that you'll ever get to a you know, a kind of fairly dispassionate view of the band without somebody in the band actually writing something at some point. Kieran, what? I don't know that one.
Let's have a look. What's it say? Oh, my producer's just saying Carol was one of his best mates. He used to work on Melody Maker and NME, my husband. Kieran Tyler's Smashing It Up or Barry Hutchinson's Chaos Years. There are 2 other biographies.
I don't know Kieran's one. Yeah, I think I've read Barry's. I think so.
Yeah. Would you ever think of writing an autobiography?
I've started a number of times. I started when I was ill, actually, you know, with the old cancer thing, something to do. it's difficult. You know, I'm kind of quite a private person in a lot of ways, and I think, well, there's a lot to write about, sure, but do I want everybody to know it? I mean, you know, a lot of things have, you know, a lot of books follow the same kind of trajectory, and you know, been there, done it. Not quite written a book, but so you don't want.
It's being asked for. Look,
Yeah, I
Slim
mean,
Pixie wants to read it.
what I like is getting my memory jogged by a comment or something, you know, and then that'll often kick back a memory, and I'll put a little story up, and then people say, "Oh, you should put this into a book," and it's a bit different than sitting down and starting to write something from. Because I sit and I think people really want to read about. Well, you know, are people really interested in that? It's very different being there and experiencing something to trying to put it into words. So at the moment, I've got various kind of chapters written, a few, and then I redo it, and then I think, oh, I don't really want to. Do I really want people to know that, or you know, because I'm not at the moment. I put bits down. There's stuff bubbling away there.
Okay.
Maybe if it all ends in tears and I end up really skint, then
I was going to go somewhere else with that, but someone's just asked a question, so let's see what someone's just said. How did Paul like singing on the Sensible Grey Cells last album? Did you enjoy that?
I had to be dragged kicking and screaming into
Oh dear.
That was Captain, bless him. He said, your voice suits it. I said, but it's all gnarly, and he said, yeah, but it suits it. So some days I'm, you know, I used to do backing vocals, you know, with the Damned especially, and I can't anymore, because as soon as I start pushing my voice, it goes, and if I go, it's gone. I've got nothing from all the treatment. So live, I've just got no voice to it anymore. Sat at home, you know, with a glass or something, and I'm not pushing it, I can muster up a vocal for my demos. And occasionally they've ended up, as on the Grey Cells thing, being left on there. Kind of to my embarrassment at first, but I kind of got used to it now. You know, they kind of work after a certain old charm, I guess. So yeah, I like doing it. I can't say I enjoy listening to my vocal efforts, you know.
Really?
I don't listen to my bass efforts much, but vocal ones certainly less so.
Oh, stop with the self-deprecation. So, just talking before about you writing a book, though, you were doing your. I remember a few months back, you were going on about your family tree. You were doing research on that. I saw something you did on Facebook, and it was. Was it something to do with one of your descendants was in the court of King Arthur or something?
Well, you could. I was very lucky, because I didn't know anything about the history of my family. I'd know, you know, my grandparents were dead long before I was born. I had my sister was adopted, so there was nobody I could kind of talk to about, you know, family history. All I knew is my great grandfather came from York, and my mother's family were from. There was a bit of Irish in there, but I got into Ancestry. I mean, lockdown, I just got bored, you know. So I delved into it, and I was very lucky in unearthing the fact that two lines of my family, on my mother's side, a branch came from Cornwall, and one of the lines going back about 7 or 8 generations. Because around the 1550s, until the 1550s, there's no record, because when the church started keeping records, that's when we
Right.
can start digging back. And most people can get back to maybe 1700, maybe 16 if they're lucky. But I managed to unearth, actually through a guy that contacted me on Ancestry, who shared the same relatives going back 5 generations, who lives in a place called Penistone in Yorkshire. That my mother's line came from Cornwall, and I can trace them back through a book called The Visitations of Cornwall, which is a record of kind of all the landed gentry, if you like, and the knights and everything that visited there. And I can trace that back. It's all verifiable. It's all in Oxford University, and I can trace that back to Norman times, to just before 1100. And in fact, my partner and I went down a couple of months ago, spent a week in Cornwall, and Boscastle in Cornwall is the seat of the Boscawen family. It was, and that's one of my lines that goes right back. And you can actually see a castle that was built in Norman times that my 23rd great ancestors built.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And then the grey line now I've traced back to Fife in Scotland, and through another line there, I've gone way back into the early Middle Ages. So it's having the time to do it, and it's ignoring all the other family trees, because people just put any old shit up because they want to find out they're related to Robin Hood or something. And oddly enough, we are kind of all related, because we all come from actually very few families, but it's finding the records. And if you're lucky enough to have a family that married into other families that own land, because that's how it's same today, money marries into money. A lot of my ancestors were agricultural labourers or worked in the steel mills in Birmingham. I've got records of some of them in poorhouses, so it goes right across the gamut. But it's absolutely fascinating. Yeah.
What is there a site that you particularly use?
I use Ancestry.
Is it Ancestry UK?
Yeah, but I don't just use that. I've found a load of other resources as well that I dip into, just to double check everything, because it's easy just to copy stuff and just put up, and it's usually a bit wrong, if not very wrong.
Wikipedia.
There's a site, there's a wiki site actually that it can be quite useful, but you just got to down to cross-referencing everything. It's the most studious I've ever been. If it was like that at school, I might have done a bit better.
I was going to say your teachers would have been proud.
This is something I'm interested in, which I wasn't interested in trigonometry or,
algebra. No, I'm with you on that. So listen, right, I'm sorry, we've gone a lot further into our time than I meant to, because there's a very important part of our show that we always have to do. A very important part, because we've discussed all the serious stuff about music and health and everything, but there's a thing I need to know, Paul. We call it tea and biscuits. There we go, right on cue. Thank you, Ash. We call it tea and biscuits. My first question is always, do you like Jaffa cakes?
No, can't stand them.
Oh no! See, I can't put that up as a clip now, can I? And in that case, what is your favourite biscuit? Do you like tea or coffee? And do you dunk? Over to you.
Jaffa cake, bitter and squishy and horrible. Yeah, can't stand them. Biscuits. I like those posh all butter chocolate chip white chocolate raspberry cookies.
Oh, nice.
Dunk them into a nice cup of strong PG tips and job done. There you go.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
All right. I can do chocolate digestive, but the nice crumbly, buttery biscuits, I'll scoff a few of them.
And chocolate digestives, milk or dark?
Milk, probably.
Okay, all right. And the other one I always ask is cheese.
You know, I grew up in the late 50s, and as many of us who grew up in that period did, you know, we were just coming out of all the rationing and austerity of the war, and sugar was just about available again, and butter. So of course, you know, our mums just plied us with sugar and butter, which is why I got so many bloody fillings. You know, have another sugar in your tea, dear. I used to have 4 sugars in my tea.
Oh, Jesus. Do you know what? You just reminded me, when I was a kid and we used to go on holiday, we used to go down to Devon and Cornwall. And whenever we'd go into somewhere for lunch, I'd have a glass of Coke, and then they used to have the little sugar things on the table that you pour into a spoon. I would put 4 or 5 sugars into a glass of Coke before I drank it. So I know where you're coming from with the sugar.
Yeah, I stopped sugar when I got ill. It's not great.
All right. No. I can get that. So the other one I always ask is cheese. Do you like cheese? And if so, what kind of cheese?
Cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. I wish I liked veggie cheese more.
I've not tried it.
Yeah, there's some nice. I've tried a few nice bits of veggie cheese. I'm just not overly keen on the whole, you know, cheese manufacturing cow thing, but I do eat cheese. Yeah, I like a nice bit of strong cheddar and dolce latte.
Oh, nice. Yes. Oh, thank you for that comment, Keith. Yes, lovely, excellent. Right. So this brings us to another important part of the show, and you have an option here, Paul. Your option is: would you like some 80s questions, or would you like to make a selection from our random question generator?
The 80s was a bit lost for me. So I'll probably pass on that one.
All right. Okay. So we're going to go for random questions.
This is the option of going in.
Go on then. Right. So while we're doing this, if my producer would be so kind as to scroll Paul's socials across the screen so that people know where to get hold of him, and all the stuff's in the show notes if you miss it. Right, Paul. Here we are. We're very high tech. It's all on a bit of paper. We have 60 questions, and you can pick a number between 1 and 6. Oh, you don't have to do all of them. Don't worry. We're not going to be here all day. You can pick a number between 1 and 60, and we'll do a few of these and see how we get on.
39.
Right, 39. All right. Either one lesson you learned this week or one word to describe your week. Interesting one.
Question 31.
Do you have any bad habits, or do you have any form of quirky behaviour you'd like to share with us?
Oh, crikey. I'll go back to the first one, I think. Yeah, I still nibble my nails. I've never been able to stop doing it. Yeah.
Oh no. I keep trying to get the kids at school not to do that.
Don't realise I'm doing it.
See, I do that. I twiddle my hair. I'm always fiddling with that. All right, okay, let's jump onto another one then. Come on, we've got 60. We're going to hit one that you're going to enjoy.
18.
18. Did you or do you have any nicknames?
Danger Man was my nickname.
Danger Man.
Danger Man, yeah. In the early years of the hot rods, when I started wearing a beret, before a certain guitarist, I think I'm right in saying.
Oh,
and my mirror shades and a bullet belt. In '77, I think our road crew, or is it Dave Higgs, hot rods guitarist? One of them nicknamed me Danger Man. Oh, here comes Danger Man again, you know, wearing the shades and the thing. So that's one of them.
Excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Next one. We'll do 3 more.
55.
55. Okay. This is a selection question. Ketchup, ketchup, mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, or brown sauce?
Ketchup.
Good man. Like that one. Right. Got
Heinz,
another one?
Heinz
Oh,
ketchup.
yeah.
Heinz.
Oh, yes. Got behinds. Definitely got behinds. Although there's a crisis with that at the moment, I've heard.
Not in my fridge, there's not.
No, not in my. I've got something to keep us going. Apparently, Tesco's are in dispute and they're not selling any Heinz products. So, anyone needs Heinz, stock up now. It's got to be. It's got to be.
There you
Heinz.
go. Boycott Tesco's then.
Yeah, boycotting Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Morrison's. There are other supermarkets. Okay, next one.
3.
3. Oh, okay. Several parts to this. Have you ever had your palm?
60.
Nah, I won't keep you all day. I've got to let you go soon. We've gone way over the hour. I'm so sorry. Have you ever had your palm or tarot read? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever seen one? And are you superstitious? Okay, there's multiple parts to this.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, I have. Yeah, palm and tarot. And yes, I do. And yes, I have.
You have? Oh, do tell. See, because my nickname's Spooky Peg, so it's my topic. So come on, share.
The ghosty one. Yeah, there's a couple. The first one is when we're in Rockfield. I forget what we were doing. It might have been Friday the 13th. But we were staying. There's 2 studios at Rockfield. There's the big quadrangle one that we did the Black Album in, and it's the one you see in all the films that Queen and all that did. And then there's another studio in the main house, and the accommodation for that was in this old cottage called Little Anchor Hill, and it's on the hill on the opposite side of the studio, opposite side of the lane. Go up quite a steep drive to it. It's quite an old house, and we're having Sunday lunch one day, and Rat had his hound with him. He had this Alsatian called Pup, and we'd had our Sunday lunch, and we were walking back up to Anchor Hill. Nice sunny day, and all of a sudden this hound starts going mental, howling and freaking out. Wouldn't walk. He digging its like paws into the dust and dirt, and dragging this thing out. Come on, pup. Didn't want to go up the house whatsoever. Got in the house, and we were going through a phase of watching old Beatles films, Help and Hard Day's Night and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a bunch of us in the room where the telly was, the windows open, it was nice sunny day, everything, and all of a sudden every window and every door slammed shut, and this fucking dog was going absolutely mental. And if you get like a gust of wind, you'll get a door opening one way, well, they're all open the same way. No, everything shut and open at the same time. And that night I had the room up the top, and my then girlfriend Lynn, was with me, and the toilet was on the next floor down. And I got up in the night to have a wet, and there's an old latch on the door. There's no lock on it, just an old wooden latch. Did the business, come back up, and the door wouldn't open, and it felt like there was pressure behind it, somebody pushing it all. So I said, Lynn, stop playing silly buggers, let me in. Lynn? And I could hear his voice on the other side of the room, the bed. What?
No.
And it was like somebody was, as I was pushing it, there was this pressure stopped me from getting in there. And all of a sudden, I kind of like tumbled into the room. And I told Charles and Sandra, who owned Rockfield, the next day. And all they say is, yes, we've heard some of that before. That's where Black Sabbath used to hold their seances.
Oh, God.
And then I
Jesus.
lived in a house in Cardiff about 20 years ago, Victorian house. And there was a bit of a weird kind of, it was a bit of a strange feeling on the landing. And the back room is a little back bedroom. And I had a friend staying there for a couple of weeks once. And came downstairs one morning and she's like white as a sheet. And so, you're right, also her name was. And she said, I had the weirdest thing last night. I don't know what to make of it. She said that all of a sudden the curtain started blowing. I had the window shut. The curtain started blowing like the window was open.
Yeah.
And I kind of sat up in bed, said, and I swore I just saw the outline of this figure at the end of the bed. And then I sat up and it was just suddenly gone. And in the same house, I'd sometimes walk into the living room and all the pictures, I've always had loads of pictures in my houses, a lot of sort of Italian-y stuff, and they'd all be slightly moved like that. You know, not in one direction, but they're like, you know, and there's no reason for every picture to be suddenly moved like that. Weird stuff. But though the Rockfield one especially was, there was something weird going on in that.
Definitely. Definitely. Wow.
There you go.
I love a good spooky story. And are you, the other part of that was are you superstitious at all?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure in what way.
Well, like me, I walk down the road and if I see a magpie, because we live in Milton Keynes, there's loads of magpies. I can't walk past one without going, morning, Captain, because that's just something. Won't walk under ladders.
I'm not kind of like that. No,
No.
You know, I believe stuff happens. You know, there's definitely another kind of, there's stuff happening around us that we don't know about. And you know, I can kind of get a little bit of a sense of that on very rare occasions, you know.
Yeah.
I like old places because I like I like going to old churches, especially Italy, because, you know, I'm not the slightest bit religious, but there's just something about.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Something, the architecture and the work and the detail that goes into them is unreal.
Just to feel, you know, that there's a church half a mile up from where I am in the little hamlet up there that's built on the site of a Roman temple. You know, I can go and sit there sometimes and you just get this really, you kind of get sucked back into time. It's really weird, you know. I find it very calming, actually.
Yeah, they are lovely places to go and spend some time in.
Don't freak me out.
All right, look, everyone's getting the creeps now. Everyone's getting the creeps and asking for part 2 and a part 3. So before we overrun too much, because we have gone, Jesus, Paul, I'm so sorry, it's an hour and a quarter. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do one more random selection, and I'll let you go and get on with your Friday.
Number one.
Are you easier to scare or to embarrass?
Probably embarrass.
All right, we'll keep that one in the back pocket. We'll remember that. So when I come to a gig. Anyway, listen, we have kept you way too long, and I really appreciate you spending so much time with us today. Everybody in the chat has been amazing. I've seen everybody's comments. And if we can persuade Paul to come back in February when the album, if it's February when the album finally comes out, then then we will.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right, listen, Paul, I'm going to just put you backstage for 2 seconds while I just say goodbye to everybody. But thank you so much for coming on today. And did you have any final parting words for our beloved viewers?
Not really.
Give him an inspirational message for the weekend or something.
See you next year.
There you
Hopefully.
go, that'll do. Well,
Yeah,
that's good enough for us. That's all we want, isn't it?
there you go.
No,
All right,
thank
cheers,
you so
everybody.
much. We will talk to you very soon, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers then. Ta-da.
Okay, everybody. So thank you all for joining us. I've seen you all in the chat. You've all been amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Reignite is going to take a break for the summer while we head off to Vegas, but we will be back in September. Date to be confirmed, but we will be coming back with Steve Diggle from the Buzzcocks. So make sure you're subscribed and you hit notifications. In the meantime, stay reignited, everybody.